3 days before her wedding, Kemi received a visitor that changed everything. An old woman from a distant village came to her with a warning. Child, in your bloodline runs an ancient consequence. Every lie you tell will bring heartbreak to those who love you most. The bigger the lie, the deeper the pain. Kemi laughed it off as superstition from a crazy old woman. After all, she had told only small lies in her life, nothing that could hurt anyone. But as she prepared for her wedding day, she found herself facing the biggest lie of her life. Her fiancé believed she was pure and had never been with another man, but years ago she had made a mistake that she had kept secret. As she stood at the altar, promising to love and honor her husband with truth, she had to choose. Tell the truth and risk losing the man she loved, or lie and condemn him to a lifetime of heartbreak that would slowly destroy their marriage, their future children, and everyone connected to their union. Kemi was the pride of Umuru village. At 24, she was beautiful, intelligent, and had captured the heart of Chike, the most eligible bachelor in 3 neighboring villages. Their love story was the kind that made older women smile and young girls dream, pure, romantic, and blessed by both families. Chike was a successful trader who had built his reputation on honesty and integrity. He often told Kemi that what he loved most about her was her purity and truthfulness. In a world full of deception, he would say, you are like clear water, transparent and clean. That's why I know our marriage will be blessed. The wedding preparations had been going on for months. Both families had invested everything they had to make it the most beautiful celebration the village had ever seen. Kemi's mother, Mama Adana, had worked day and night sewing the most elaborate traditional attire. Chiki's father had invited guests from 5 different villages. But as the wedding day approached, Kemi felt a growing weight in her chest. There was something Chik didn't know about her, something that, if revealed, could destroy everything they had built together. 3 years ago, before she met Chike, Kemi had been involved with Emeka, a young man from a distant town. What started as innocent friendship had led to a relationship that became intimate. When Emeka suddenly left for the city without saying goodbye, Kemi was heartbroken and ashamed. She vowed never to tell anyone about what had happened. When she met Chike a year later, he was so different from Emeka, respectful, patient, and deeply traditional in his values. He spoke often about his desire to marry a woman who had saved herself for marriage, someone who shared his traditional values about purity and commitment. Kemi fell deeply in love with Chike, but she also fell into the trap of letting him believe she was someone she wasn't. Every time he praised her purity, she remained silent. Every time he spoke about their perfect future together, she smiled and agreed, burying her secret deeper. 3 days before the wedding, as Kemi was having her final dress fitting, a strange old woman appeared at the family's compound. She was unlike anyone from their village. Her skin was weathered like ancient leather. Her eyes held depths that seemed to see beyond the present moment, and she carried herself with an authority that made people step aside. I need to speak with the bride, the old woman announced. Mama Adana tried to send her away. We are very busy with wedding preparations. Perhaps you can come back after the celebration. But the old woman's gaze found Kemi and held it. Child, I have traveled far to give you a warning that could save your family line from generations of heartbreak. Despite her mother's protests, Kemi felt compelled to listen. There was something about the old woman that made her feel both afraid and curious. The old woman led Kemi to a quiet corner of the compound. Your great-great-grandmother was my sister, she began. Our family carries an ancient consequence that has been passed down through the women in our bloodline. Kemi frowned. I don't understand. What consequence? Every lie you tell, child, will bring heartbreak to those who love you most. The consequence is immediate and proportional. Small lies bring small heartbreaks. Big lies bring devastating pain. Your great-great-grandmother learned this too late, after she had destroyed everyone she loved with her dishonesty. The old woman's words made Kemi's skin crawl, but she tried to dismiss them. That's just superstition, grandmother. I don't even lie. The old woman's eyes seemed to pierce through her soul. Don't you, child? What about the secret you're carrying? What about the lie you're about to tell at your wedding altar? Kemi's heart stopped. How could this stranger know her secret? I can see it in your eyes, the old woman continued. You love this young man, but you're building your marriage on a foundation of deception. If you speak false vows at your wedding, the consequence will not just affect you, it will destroy him, your children, and everyone connected to your union. But if I tell the truth, I'll lose him, Kemi whispered. And if you lie, you'll destroy him, the old woman replied. The choice is yours, but know this. The consequence is real, and it is coming. After the old woman left, Kemi couldn't shake her words. That night, she lay awake thinking about every small lie she had ever told and trying to remember if anyone had been hurt afterward. She remembered lying to her mother about breaking a neighbor's pot when she was 12. The next day, her mother had been falsely accused of theft by that same neighbor and was publicly humiliated. At the time, Kemi thought it was just bad luck. She remembered lying to her friend Adaez about not having money to contribute to a group savings fund, when in reality she had spent the money on a new dress. Within a week, Adaez's own savings had been stolen, leaving her devastated. Again, Kemi had dismissed it as coincidence. The more she thought about it, the more she realized that small heartbreaks had indeed followed her small lies throughout her life, but she had never connected them before. Now, as she faced the biggest lie of her life, she began to understand the true weight of what the old woman had told her. The next morning, Kemi decided to test the old woman's warning. She told her mother a small lie, that she had eaten breakfast when she hadn't. Within 2 hours, her mother received news that her best friend had betrayed her confidence about a family matter, causing her deep emotional pain. That afternoon, Kemi lied to her sister about liking her new hairstyle when she actually thought it looked terrible. By evening, her sister's boyfriend had broken up with her, claiming he no longer found her attractive. Each small lie was followed by heartbreak for someone she loved. The consequence was real. As the wedding day drew closer, Kemi found herself in an impossible situation. Chike was so excited about their upcoming marriage, speaking constantly about their pure love and how blessed their children would be because of their righteous foundation. Kemi, he said as they walked through the village 2 days before the wedding, I thank God every day that I found a woman of such virtue. In these modern times, it's rare to find someone who has kept herself pure. Our marriage will be blessed because it's built on truth and purity. Each word felt like a knife in Kemi's heart. She wanted to tell him the truth, but she was terrified of losing him. Yet she also couldn't bear the thought of condemning him to a lifetime of heartbreak because of her lies. That night she prayed desperately for guidance. God, show me what to do. I love him so much, but I don't know how to tell him the truth without destroying everything. Her prayer was interrupted by her younger brother Kelechi bursting into her room in tears. Sister, something terrible has happened, he sobbed. Remember how you told me yesterday that everything would be fine with my school fees? You said not to worry? Kemi remembered. It had been a small lie. She had told Kelechi not to worry about his school fees when, in reality, the family was struggling to pay them. What happened? She asked, though she already feared the answer. The headmaster called me today. He said there's been a mistake with my scholarship. I've lost it completely. I might not be able to continue my education. Kemi's heart sank. Even her small lies were causing devastating consequences for her family. The night before her wedding, Kemi made a decision to test the consequence one more time. She needed to be absolutely sure before making her choice at the altar. She told her maid of honor, Kyoma, a deliberate lie, that she was completely confident and had no doubts about the marriage. In reality, she was consumed with anxiety and uncertainty. The next morning, just hours before the wedding ceremony, Kyoma came to her in tears. Kemi, I have to tell you something terrible. Last night, my fiancé called off our engagement. He said he realized he could never trust me completely and that he'd rather be alone than live with doubt. Kemi was horrified. Koma had been planning her own wedding for next month. Her deliberate lie had cost her best friend her own chance at happiness. I'm so sorry, Kyoma, Kemi said, hugging her friend. It's not your fault, Kyoma sobbed. It's just bad timing. But how can I be your maid of honor when my own heart is breaking? As Kemi looked at her friend's pain, she realized the true horror of her situation. If a small lie could destroy Shoma's engagement, what would lying at the altar do to Chike, to their future children, to both their families? The wedding ceremony was more beautiful than Kemi had ever imagined. The entire village had turned out to celebrate. Flowers decorated every part, traditional drummers filled the air with joyous rhythms, and both families beamed with pride and happiness. As Kemi walked down the aisle in her elaborate traditional attire, she saw Chike waiting for her at the altar. His face was radiant with love and joy. She had never seen him look more handsome or more happy. The village pastor began the ceremony with prayers and blessings. Then came the moment Kemi had been dreading, the vows. Chike, the pastor said, "Do you take Kemi to be your wife, to love and honor her in truth and faithfulness, to cherish the purity of your union, and to build your family on the foundation of honesty and trust?" "I do," Chike replied, his voice strong and certain. The pastor turned to Kemi. "Kemi, do you take Chike to be your husband, to love and honor him in truth and faithfulness, to cherish the purity of your union, and to build your family on the foundation of honesty and trust?" This was the moment. If she said "I do" while keeping her secret, she would be lying at the altar, the biggest lie of her life. According to the old woman's warning, this would bring devastating heartbreak to Chike and everyone connected to their union. Kemi looked at Chike's expectant face, then at both families watching with joy and anticipation. The entire village was silent, waiting for her response. Time seemed to stop. She thought about the consequences of lying, the heartbreak it would bring to the man she loved, the pain it would cause their future children, the destruction it would rain upon both families. But she also thought about the immediate consequence of telling the truth, losing Chike, disappointing both families, and facing public shame. "I doubt," Kemi began, then stopped. She looked at Chike again, seeing the pure love and trust in his eyes. She thought about all the times he had spoken about building their marriage on truth and purity. She realized that even if she could hide her secret forever, their marriage would be built on a foundation of deception. "I need to say something," Kemi announced. A murmur went through the crowd. The pastor looked confused. Chike's expression changed from joy to concern. "Chik," Kemi said, her voice trembling, "before I can make this vow, I need to tell you something. I need to tell you the truth about my past." Chike's face went pale, but he nodded for her to continue. In front of the entire village, with both families watching, Kemi told the truth about her relationship with Emeka. She spoke about the past, her shame, and her fear of losing Chike's love. "I should have told you before," she said through her tears. "I was afraid you wouldn't love me if you knew, but I realize now that I can't build our marriage on a lie. If you still want to marry me, knowing the truth, then our vows will be honest. If not, then at least I will have honored the truth." The silence that followed was deafening. Kemi watched as various emotions played across Chike's face: shock, hurt, disappointment, and something else she couldn't quite identify. Chike stood silent for what felt like an eternity. The wedding guests whispered among themselves. Some of the older women shook their heads in disapproval. Both mothers looked mortified. Finally, Chike spoke. "Kemi, I won't lie and say this doesn't hurt. I won't pretend that learning this doesn't change things for me." Kemi's heart shattered. She had lost him. "But," Chike continued, "I also can't ignore the courage it took for you to tell me the truth at this moment, in front of everyone. You could have hidden this forever, but you chose honesty over comfort." He took her hands in his. "The woman I fell in love with is someone I believed was perfect. But the woman standing before me now, who chose truth over deception even at great personal cost, is someone I can truly respect." The crowd held its breath. "Your past is your past, Kemi. What matters to me is the choice you just made. You chose our future over your fear. You chose truth over lies. That tells me everything I need to know about who you really are." Chike turned to the pastor. "I still want to marry this woman, not the perfect image I had in my mind, but the real woman who just showed me what true integrity looks like." The wedding continued, but it was different now. Instead of celebrating a perfect couple, the village was witnessing something much more powerful. Two people choosing to build their marriage on truth, even when that truth was difficult. The vows they spoke were deeper and more meaningful because they were completely honest. When Kemi promised to love and honor Chike, everyone knew she meant it. When Chike vowed to cherish and protect her, it was with full knowledge of who she really was. In the days that followed the wedding, something miraculous happened. The small heartbreaks that had been affecting Kemi's loved ones began to heal. Her brother Kelechi received news that his scholarship had been reinstated due to a clerical error. Her friend Chioma received a call from her ex-fiancé, who who apologized and asked to reconcile. Her mother's friendship was restored when the truth about the earlier misunderstanding came to light. It was as if Kemi's choice to tell the truth at the altar had reversed the consequence of her previous lies. The healing rippled outward, touching everyone who had been hurt by the small deceptions she had told throughout her life. A month after the wedding, the mysterious old woman returned to the village. She found Kemi and Chike working together in their new home, planning their future with openness and honesty. "I see you made the right choice, child," the old woman said. Kemi invited her in and served her the best food they had. "Thank you for the warning, grandmother. You saved my marriage before it even began." The old woman smiled. "The consequence was real, but so was the cure. Truth has the power to heal what lies have broken. Your great-great-grandmother never learned this lesson. She chose lies over truth until she had destroyed everyone she loved. But you chose differently." "Will the consequence still affect me if I lie in the future?" Kemi asked. "The consequence affects all women in our bloodline," the old woman replied. "But now you know its power, and you know the cure. Teach your daughters and their daughters that truth is always stronger than deception, even when it seems more difficult." Years passed, and Kemi and Chike built a marriage that became an example to their entire community. Their relationship was built on complete honesty. They shared their fears, their dreams, their mistakes, and their triumphs. When their first child was born, a daughter, Kemi told her husband about the family consequence. Together, they decided to raise their children with an understanding of the power of truth and the danger of lies. As their daughter grew, Kemi would tell her stories about the importance of honesty. Not scary stories, but tales of how truth had the power to heal and build, while lies could only destroy. "My daughter," Kemi would say, "remember that every word you speak has power. Choose your words carefully and always choose truth over comfort. It may seem harder in the moment, but it will always lead to real happiness in the end." Their marriage became legendary in the village, not because it was perfect, but because it was honest. Other couples would come to them for advice when they faced difficulties, and Kemi and Chikes would always counsel them toward truth and transparency. 20 years later, Kemi had become an elder in the village, known for her wisdom and integrity. She had raised 3 children who were all known for their honesty and strong character. When young women in the village were preparing for marriage, they would often come to Kemi for advice. She would tell them about the power of truth and the importance of building relationships on honesty. "Marriage is like a house," she would say. "If the foundation is built on lies, the whole structure will eventually collapse, no matter how beautiful it looks on the outside. But if the foundation is built on truth, it can weather any storm." One day, her own daughter came to her, preparing for her own wedding. "Mama, I want to tell you something before I get married. I made some mistakes in my past and I'm afraid of what my fiancé will think." Kemi smiled and took her daughter's hand. "Tell him the truth, my child. Trust in the power of honesty. A man who cannot love the real you is not worthy of your future, but a man who can accept your truth and still choose you is a man you can build a lifetime with." Her daughter followed her advice and, like her mother, found that truth led to a deeper, stronger love than any lie could ever create. The mysterious old woman's warning had been real. Every lie did bring heartbreak to those you love most. But Kemi's story proved that the power of choice was even stronger than the power of consequence. When faced with the biggest lie of her life, Kemi chose truth over comfort, honesty over deception, and real love over false perfection. That choice not only saved her marriage but created a legacy of truth that would be passed down through generations. Her story became a legend in the village, told to young women as they prepared for marriage and to children as they learned about the power of their words. It was a reminder that while lies might seem easier in the moment, truth is always the path to lasting happiness. And in the end, Kemi learned that the most beautiful love story isn't about two perfect people finding each other. It's about two honest people choosing to build something real together, one truth at a time. Kemi's story teaches us that every word we speak has power, and every lie we tell affects not just ourselves, but everyone we love. Truth may seem harder in the moment, but it is always the foundation of real happiness. and genuine relationships. I hope this tale of courage, honesty, and redemptive love has inspired you to choose truth in your own life. If this story moved you, please like this video, share your thoughts about the power of honesty in the comments, and subscribe for more stories that explore the deepest truths about love and relationships. Remember, truth may be difficult, but it is always the path to real love. Until our next tale, may you choose courage over comfort and truth over deception.